you. Those are great. What a broad range of topics and themes and styles, too. Some of the poetic devices I noticed was a use of repetition, like in Imagine a Time, like imagine once, the repetition of that phrase was very strong. And then, or the use of, like in just a second, or just in a moment, you know, it was like a second, a moment, there was different increments. Very neat. How often does the club meet?
We met like once a week,
Okay.
Starting in January, and then as it got closer to the actual performance, we started doing twice a week.
Okay. And what is the inspiration for, I mean, or how do you get the students to use writing prompts or exercises, or do they just come up with this all on their own?
Well, we basically started off with themes. And so based on those themes, we'd give examples through song, we'd give examples through poems, and then we would also write poems and share with them. And then they would give us feedback, and then they would write poems, and then we'd give them feedback, just to kind of build that sense of trust and comfort in being able to express themselves through poetry.
Like the first few weeks we had snow, passion, anger. So we just gave them a topic and said, write a piece about this.
Okay.
And then after they had really expressed their feelings on a wide variety of topics for the actual slam, then we said, pick something you're passionate about and write about it.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, they certainly did. I guess that was my question about you had mentioned earlier Louder Than a Bomb is the documentary, and I just wanted to mention that East on Central, Highland Park's own Journal of Arts and Letters, did actually purchase a copy of the documentary Louder Than a Bomb. So if people, they're going to be donating it to the Highland Park Public Library, and it should be available at the library in their documentary section this summer. So maybe the whole community can come out and get inspired, and we'll get more kids interested in poetry slams and being involved. I guess it would be nice if we could get the microphone because I wanted to ask what you all just graduated, or well, with the exception of Sarah, who's a 7th grader, who'll be back probably to be the captain of the team next year, right? What are some of the plans for poetry next year when you go off to high school?
Personally, I really want to continue poetry, and even if I can't find a club that works with my schedule, I'll still continue writing poetry on my own and hopefully find my ways into other slams to compete in. But that's just me.
I'm very similar to Seth. I have the same idea, and I would like to continue poetry a lot, and I think I will go look out and look for lots of different opportunities to do it if there isn't something at school.
I plan on writing more poems and submitting my poems to a website that publishes a couple of short stories and other poems as well.
I plan on continuing to write at least at some level. I plan to at first see kind of like how the school year will progress, see what I can handle, what I can't, and then work from there.
Sounds great. Well, I'm good. I'm very excited that all of you are going to be continuing with your poetry. I should recommend, make a little plug for Highland Park Poetry, but we do host poetry open mics once a month, and would certainly welcome some fresh young talent to come and though we don't do any slams, we don't actually, the snapping and the, and no black berets are required, but do come out. And we also actually have several contests throughout the year, so we'll be, check out our website, which is www.highlandparkpoetry.org. And I do realize that some of the teachers here have some poems to share with us. Chrissy, would you like to do the poem with Johanna?
Yes. So, the inspiration for this poem came from the simple fact that over the course of the last couple of years, my students tend to remind me that there's an age difference between us, but I don't really feel older than them as much as they do remind me of it. So the name of the poem is called Generations. Do as I say, not as I do. When I was your age, back in the day, how did anything I do become old school?
You just don't understand. It's not the same as it was in your day. It's not the 80s or 90s in any way.
Really? Is growing up that different than it was back in '83 or even '92? It seems simply impossible to me.
Your music was not that good. It didn't pave that way for anything. Our inspiration came from the Beatles and Michael Jackson when he was like 3.
ABC is easy as 1, 2, 3. Oh, I see how this works. Your generation is clever. You have Lady Gaga in a meat dress, and she's been around for like ever. That song, Born This Way, what a catchy hook. It doesn't resemble anything by Madonna. It didn't come out of her lyrical playbook. Oh yes, Madonna, that 80s, 90s icon. With her comb bras and rebellious ways, she made the song Express Yourself back in her heyday.
Baby, I was born
Express
this
yourself,
way.
hey, hey, hey.
That is a point to consider, but I'm not done arguing my case. I'm not a quitter. You see, it's hard for your generation to stay afloat. Technology has left you in a bit of a dry moat. I have 3 words for you: pirating, Facebook, and Twitter.
Ah, technology. I can't argue with you there. We suffered through floppy disks, daisy printers, and all kinds of software. Can you say Encarta?
What is that anyway?
Exactly. But I don't think I'm that far off from you. Sure, we didn't have instant access to all our friends, but we had pen pals, the party line, and cassette tapes to share. Oh, wait, tape is in the boombox. Press record. Hey, Mr. DJ, don't interrupt that song. I'm still recording.
I'm graduating 8th grade, going to celebrate and party. Great America with my friends, sleepovers without sleep, no longer worrying about tardies.
Yes, that's right. I would have not done such a thing. Graduated in '88, went on Splash Waterfalls for almost free. Sleepovers with friends have been around forever, just like my teen love for Johnny Depp, who became a pirate of whatever. Huh. I guess we aren't so different. Our generation gap not so broad. But I see my generation is cooler until the next generation comes along.
That's great.
Love it.
Very entertaining. That's good. Well, get a connection with the students. That's for sure.
That's what we try to do.
Okay, that's wonderful. And Suzanne, you have a poem as well. I'm willing to share.
I do. I actually wrote this piece. You know, the students have opened up and shared a lot with us just about, you know, what they feel. And middle school is a difficult time. It's really hard to navigate successfully, and poetry has been a vehicle for these students to really make sense of their world and express their passions, their emotions, their feelings. And so I've been moved to tears many times in our different poetry club meetings when they've shared different poems each week. And so that was really my inspiration for writing this piece. It was a way to sort of give back to them my passion of poetry and my feelings and emotions that they've evoked through hearing their poetry. It requires a little audience participation. All right. So many kids wrote about the pain and hurt that they feel as a teenager in today's society. So I dedicate this poem to all kids. May you stay strong and weather the storm. There truly is so much more to life. And the poem is called Life is Worth Living. We don't read and write poetry because it's cute. We read and write because we're members of the human race. And the human race is filled with passion. So medicine, law, business, engineering, these are noble pursuits and necessary to sustain life. But poetry, beauty, romance, love, these are what we stay alive for. Taken from Dead Poets Society, which is a great film that we so recently got to see. But is there really a time in our lives when things get better? Move slower? When we can breathe deeper and just relax? Words flow rhythmically from my mouth, and at times I even want to shout. The message could not get any clearer, but the pupils don't seem to hear. Mr. Keating said it with pride, carpe diem. But don't ask why, ask why not. Instead of always thinking, what if I fail? Ask yourself, what if I succeed? Instead of believing what you hear, believe in what you say. 8th grade, you're at the top of your class. You think you can kick anyone's? Ask me a question, I'll tell you a lie. I'll spread a rumor and I'll make you cry. You see, middle school is not where it's at. Unless you're talking about tweets, texts, pics, and more. all meant to make your temperature soar. Kids replying, posting without even knowing what the consequences might be. How truly grave a joke can become. But through rhythm, rhyme, and speaking words in time, I find there is a place and a space where I can go and bring you with me to escape the reality of life, even if only for a few minutes. Bookworm, nerd, smarty pants, names used to describe a kid who likes to read and write. Why? Why not? You see, they say poetry is for nerds. I know you think of big, thick glasses, suspenders, and if you're old enough, pocket protectors. But nerd to me stands for someone who never ever really dies. Why? Because my words will live on in the eyes of those who read them. My body may move to reside with Mother Earth, and my body may cease to see. But my poetry lives on and grows strong. It can't be laid to rest. It will always be. So to my fellow poets, I say this. Step up to this stage. Do not be afraid to say what's on your mind. Let rhythm flow, words glow, fill the space around your mind, and let details tell the time. Turn back the hands of clock. Let your hour truly begin. When passion and fury slither through you like a snake until they've touched every corner of your corpse, so strong a feeling you can no longer control it and it explodes in your chest, you have the rest of your lives to spit out. Breathe in. You see, in a place like middle school, pain can sometimes be the norm. Laughter and friendship seem more like things with which you were born. Either you have them or you don't, but you want to fake it to always seem so. It's time we wake up. We need to listen to our youth. Kids feel so many emotions and yet often hide what they truly feel inside. We think they're happy and have it all together, but unfortunately, for some, we simply can't see the truth or don't wish to believe it. Kids need to be heard and adults need to believe them. Friendship and laughter should be the norm. Things that help you weather the storm. Storms of pain, of bullying, of not being your best. Beauty, love, passion erupt from my soul. May they cover your heart and bring peace to an otherwise troubled world. I live to love and love to live and want nothing more than for each and every person that I meet to be able to soar. Coast on the winds of joy, fly through the jet streams of success and taste the morning dew of desire. Life is worth living. Say it with me. Life is worth living. No. Say it again with passion like you mean it. Life is worth living. Do you believe it? Do you believe what you say? Because tomorrow is another day.
Oh, wow. Well, that should be like a manifesto that's distributed to the schools across the country. That's great.
Thank you.
That's wonderful. What are some of the, you mentioned earlier that you share hip hop and as well as other poems as sort of inspiration. What are some of the favorite poems that you, or that the poems that the students really responded to?
Well, I kind of like poems about nature. I like I said, I really like to go outside. I don't always get outside as much as I would like to, but I really like poems about nature.
Okay.
To me, the content of the poem is really important, but what I care more about is how they perform it, how much it means to them, and how much, like, poetry is a window to the soul. And when you see someone perform poetry, what you want to be able to do is look right through and see their heart and their soul. And that's what I care about, whether they performed it right and how much passion they threw into it.
Well, unfortunately, we are going to have to wind it up now, but thank you so much for coming and for sharing your performances and the poetry. It was wonderful, and I really hope that we can do this again next year, and I look forward to seeing the next year Northwood Junior High Poetry Slam competition. It's going to be delightful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, what a wonderful group. You're very talented, and I look forward to seeing you in the future, either in publication or in television or film, whatnot.